we would like to kickstart this event of ROBOWEEK 2021.
A very good evening to everyone. Myself, Vanshika Govindani,
And I, Parinerana.
welcomes you all on behalf of Robotics Society NIT Hamirpur for this evening's Tech Talk session, which is about women in free and open source software.
Women in FOSS is a community that strives to raise awareness and potential power of women around the world in all technologies.
The world has many gems, and today we have one of them here with us. It's time for me to introduce you all to a powerhouse in the FOSS community, Mrs. Nithya Duraisamy ma'am.
She is currently working as an assistant consultant at TCS. She loves machine learning and data science and has over 12 years of expertise in the field.
She is a true example of women in force, and we are so honored to have her here today, as she will be giving a truly enlightening talk. Please welcome Mrs. Nithya Duraisamy ma'am.
Yeah, hello everyone. See, I'm Nithya Duraisamy. As she said, I'm having 15 years of experience in IT industry. And I would like to say thanks for giving me this opportunity to talk in this Robo Week. So I'm really happy to share my experience. I have started contributing to FOSS from the past 10 years. This contribution itself makes me to grow drastically in my career. So I would like to share that experience in this session. So what is FOSS and how contribution to FOSS will change anyone's life, and the power of learning. So why learning is important, continuous learning is important. So the reason for that and the tips for effective learning, and of course why women participation is somewhat low comparatively to men, not only in FOSS but in any area. So what are the problems for women and how can we overcome that? So I'm going to talk about these things in this session. So let me start with my own experiences. As he said, I just completed my BCA. Like after my plus two, I completed 3 years of degree course and joined in the IT industry as a manual tester. But I wanted to become a techie person. Like I wanted to work in the new technologies, but I'm not getting chance because I just completed BCA. So manual testing means only one application will be there in front of the system, and I just need to test whether that button is working. If I enter some data, whether it's going to the next page. So this kind of work only I used to do. At that time, I don't know about free open source software and all. So I wanted to become a techie, but no one is ready to give me some technical challenging projects. But currently I'm working in the field of big data, machine learning, Hadoop, Hive. I'm writing algorithms and training that algorithm. with that training data and making predictions for the future data. This level I have grown, but it's everything is based on the continuous effort you need to put. Every day you need to learn something new. So this is what our education system also expecting us, right? So let me come one by one like that. So initially I wanted to learn something new. So where whoever sees me, like the manager and all, suggest me to go for a QTP training, load runner training, like 7 days of QTP training I used to attend. But during those 7 days, I can able to get access to that tool. So this is where the power of open source tool comes into my life. So during those 7 days, I can able to access the tool. But when it comes of kind of concepts and all, I can easily buy books and then read it and have it in my mind or taking notes. But when it comes to tool, after 7 days of training, I don't know how to continue my learning, because to make it installed in my system, it's of huge cost. Either I need to work in a project which has the tool to continue my learning, or else I need to buy that tool just for learning purposes. I need to buy the tool in my system. So after that I was not able to complete. So at that time only I started learning about the new tools and technologies like Selenium and all. We can have all the power with the open source softwares. We can install Selenium, and we have all the freedom to have it in our laptops. Like for the proprietary tools at all, there might be some enterprise edition, home edition, like educational systems, institution edition. Like that, there may be so many restrictions, copyright problems, and but with the open source tool, you can use it in any time, like in anywhere. You can have all the freedom with that tool. Like after using Selenium only, I started to know like learning can be of two types. One is how to use the tool. Another one is how the tool has been created. So this much level of complete freedom, complete understanding on the tool, you can able to get it with the open source tools. See, if I'm started writing some program in Python program with Selenium, means I'm just on the first line I used to import some modules, right, from Selenium, import WebDriver. So you can even know what the Selenium does, how the Selenium has been created. Selenium.py file will be there. If you want to know, if you are so much interested in knowing everything, you can have all freedom to know about the tool and all. So this is what the power of open source tools. So whenever you are downloading some open source tool, there will be two types of files you can download. One is binary file, which we can just use it. And another one is the source code file. There you can see if I'm writing some command, Hadoop means you just can't blankly type the command and then you have to give parameters. You can even, if you want to know how this has been created, that much level of information also you will be able to get it. So I started learning that, but still I was working in the manual testing only. So see, the effective way of learning. So how will you, everyone will go and learn something, and after 6 months, if you talk what you have learned during that session, you complete that forgetly, right? So in some rare cases, you used to take some notes. If someone wants to know something on during what has been taught during the training, then you can need to refer that course, and then you will be telling the answer for that. But I want to learn something effectively. So what I did was, whatever I'm learning it. So in this way, I've started learning so many things like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, like Hadoop, Python programming, everything I learned it on my own. But my profession will be like manual testing only. Slowly, I changed my career into this level. If I go and ask for a job anywhere, something like, see, I was into manual testing, but I want to do a coding means, definitely people will say like, see, you are into testing field for so many years now. How will you suddenly change your technology? They will ask these kind of stupid questions. But if you have the desire of learning, desire of doing something new, you will definitely get it. Even if you're not getting something on your profession, like start contributing to the open source project. There are so many open source projects with emerging technology. Take one, and just for the learning purposes, you can start contributing to that. In that way, you can learn. So what I did was, whatever the new technology that I'm learning, I've started taking notes and writing it on my own mother tongue. And my own mother tongue is Tamil. So I started taking notes on my own mother tongue, and I'll publish it as a blog in the internet. So so the reach will be very high, because when you go and search for something, always you will be getting it in English only, right? But when you get some technical contents in your mother tongue, then everyone wants that everyone can easily understand it. Because till my 12th standard, till our 12th standard, people will learn everything in our mother tongue only. So that is the best way of learning as well. Learning everything in our mother tongue is the best way, because it's not like learning something. It's like talking. It's a casual thing only. Talking, like understanding the logic in your own way. That's all. But when you start learning everything in an English, like after the 12th standard, that is also easy only. That is also not a much complicated process, but there will be a two-step process for people from Tamil medium and all. So first we have to understand the language, then we have to understand the concepts with that language. That there will be a two-way process for that. So I skipped that second, the in between that way there will be understanding of languages there, right? So I skipped that. Whatever I understood from that learning, I started writing it on my own mother tongue, so that it's like talking to someone else, talking to everyone. Like they can easily understand the concept, though. So the reach was very high. Then after that, whatever I published it as a blog, I started writing it as a book. So if I published 10 parts of blog, I used to combine everything and publish it as an ebook. That's the Creative Commons licenses. There won't be any proprietary problem for that. So that is Creative Commons license is for like open source tools only, general public licenses in that way, so that they can anyone can use it, anyone can share it, anyone can use it for that purposes. With those freedom, I published my ebooks. Then, so this are the some tips for effective learning. So if you want to learn something in a very deep, you need to recreate that. When you recreate it in your own mother tongue, your level of understanding will be very high. You will never forget it, because the creator is you, right? The creator for that logic is you in your own mother tongue. So the level of understanding will be very high. And another effective tool is, when you want to understand it very deeply, you have to teach someone. When you go and teach someone, definitely you are the master in that subject. So I have started creating YouTube channels as well to teach the concept what I have learned. So I used to teach it in Tamil, my own mother tongue only, so that it's like talking to someone, they can also easily understand it, right? So I followed these kinds of tips to make my understanding in a very deep level. And of course, people who were reading my books or watching my YouTube channels come to me and started asking for the possibilities of changing their career into the field of big data, machine learning, and all. So I can't say, like, if you they will ask me, like, if I go and attend some 1 year course in that institution, will I become a machine learning engineer like that? It's not like that. So if you go and attend some 12 year or 3 years course, you can't be a master in that course. Of course, these kinds of courses can be used as a can be used to induce your learning capabilities. That's all. This can be used as a lightning session for you to induce your learning, to induce your desire of learning. So if you want to learn something, you're into some other non-IT field, but you want to become like that, means you just can't suddenly sit and learn everything like on your own, right? Everything sit and start learn everything like a fire. There should be a fire inside it. If it is not there, then something should induce your fire, right? So these kinds of session would fulfill you. If you go and attend some kind of 1 year session, that's like a lightning session only. We can't get any assurity like you will become like that. That assurity you will get it when you do some continuous learning. That learning process should be continuous. You have to sit and learn all the things continuously. So of course, I would say, like, our 12 years of schooling and 3 years of college, everything can be considered as a push to kickstart our habit of regular learning. They are framing syllabus, right? This is what our educational system also want us to do. They are framing some syllabus, and if think in that perspective, if we are learning, if we are doing that learning activity regularly right from our childhood till we reach our age of 24, right? That becomes our regular habit. Like how we are brushing your teeth, how we are having your food, how we are getting ready to go somewhere. Like in the evening, you have to learn something. That will become a habit because you are doing that regularly right from your childhood, right? So this is what our education system also want us to. This is what that education system also imposing that. Why I'm saying, like, a learning is important. So why it is so much important? I'm not saying like a technical learning. Anything. You can even go and read a magazine. You can even go and read something, because how can you say, learning will always purify your mind. It will always occupy your thoughts with some good content, so that you can be free from your negative thoughts. You will be free from somewhat the feeling of failure, like that. You will be free from that. See, so how you will get influenced? You will get influenced with the people whom you are talking, right? So whom you will be talking regularly with the people around you. So if you are reading a book from a great leaders of the world, or from the great writers, whoever wants to give some good contents to the society, if you are reading that book, it's like talking to that great leaders. So those people will influence you. Your character will get influenced by the great leaders of the nation. So this is the learning is very, very important, very, very important for anyone. Then now tell me, so when are we stop learning that? Right from our childhood, we are learning everything regularly. Is it until we get a job? Once we get job and get positioned in a decent salary, so do we need to stop learning? Is it the only outcome? I just explained you, right? Learning will influence you in so many ways. So why are we stop learning it? So girls, usually girls after marriage, they used to do stop learning. If if they really have, they don't want to waste the certificate that they will get after the education, right? So they will go to some jobs, that's all. But after that, what about the learning? Why are we stopping that? So what is the main, what are the problems for someone to stop learning it? So what I considered was, it's like based on the priority. So when we are children, the high priority task is like learning only. So in our school, teachers also will ask us, if we didn't do homework, then what the teacher will ask. So what else will you do at your home other than doing this homework? So that question itself tells us like learning is the highest priority when we are in kids. So there would be much gender difference in that. Both boys and girls will go to school and they will start learning. There won't be any gender differences. But when we are growing, and when we started doing all the things on our own to lead our life, so we have to manage so many activities, right? Somehow we have to manage so many activities because we need to live on our own. No one is going to take care of our responsibility. So in that case, in that way, we are splitting the activities based on the gender basis. This is how the real problem arises. So once we are growing, there are so many things. We need to prepare food and feed the food, make the home clean. So how we are splitting that activities? Men is taking care of earning money, and woman is taking care of all the support activities needed to lead a peaceful life. So this is where the problem arises. Since men is taking care of earning money, his job nature itself makes him to learn to update himself regularly because he takes responsibility of that job. So to do his job in a better way, what he is doing, he is learning something. But the magic of learning started reflecting in all his activities. He is having some peaceful mind. Like a woman will be always in stress, right? So these kinds of issues will happen since he's taking care of, he's taking the responsibility of earning money. He's learning something. So he is somewhat close to learning. But woman is far away from learning something new because he's taking care of only the support activities. So what are the support activities? It's like cooking, laundry, taking care of babysitting and housekeeping, going to shopping and vegetable. This and all doesn't require any kind of learning, right? It just needs continuous practice. That's all. If woman is going to take these kinds of responsibilities, if woman is going to do all these kinds of things today, she's going to repeat the same in tomorrow as well. She's also going to repeat the same day after tomorrow. So it's like a continuous loop. It's just a kind of loop that she's getting into the loop of doing the same kind of activities on a regular basis. So she's not able to come out of that loop. Even though she's a working woman, that going to office can be considered as an item, as an added item in that loop. That's all. But this is not the condition for women to come out of that loop. She is doing all the activities. Along with that, she is going to office also. But the access to knowledge is far away for women since she's taking care of all the support functions, right? But for men, going to office is the condition which is not letting him to get into the loop at all. If he is going to office, but for women, it's just an added item for the loop. But for women, it's not. For men, it is not the condition for not getting into the loop. This is the difference. You understand now, right? Even though she's a working woman, she has to complete. She has to do. She has to get into this loop and do the activities eternal. Get into the loop of eternal loop. That's all. And see, then what? Why we are? Yeah, like she's taking care of all the support functions needed for all other members in the family, so that everyone else are getting some spare time. So she is also supporting. She is also making contributions to the society, but not in a direct way. In an indirect way, like how she is contributing to the society by growing their children with some good morals and values, ethics, because the children will be grown and they will be making direct contribution to the society. Then how? She is also preparing some nutritious food to the husband. So the husband is going to make direct contribution to the society. Always we are keeping mother or wife in the backstage only. So when are we going to show her face upfront in the camera? Always she's into the kind of support system only. Support system only she is making. That's why we are celebrating Women's Day. We are praising women. Some the great extent we are comparing woman with the God. Say, like someone will say, like being a mother is a divine thing. My mother is equivalent to God. In that way, then that way and all we are praising that, right? So what I consider is like why they are comparing their mother to God, because God is also supporting. God is also acting at the back end. for your wealth and prosperity. Likewise, mother is also acting in the back end for your wealth and has prosperity, right? That's why you are comparing mother with the God. But God also needs some private space, right? Protecting everyone is not the only job for God. He wants to do what he wants to do. If God wants to dance, then he needs some time. If God wants to draw some painting, for that also he needs some time. All the time, 24/7, he can't protect everyone, right? Like that. If you're comparing mother to God, then I would say like in this way only. Like this mother is also needs some private space. He wants to do what he wants to do. He is taking care of all the support functions. We are dedicating one resource in our family to take care of all the support functions needed for everyone else. See, this shouldn't happen. Like all the times we can't expect God to save us, right? We have to start doing the things on our own. Like this, we have to start learning the things on our own, doing the things on our own. We shouldn't expect mother to do that. So some people will say, after if I say like this, then some men will come and fight with me. Like we are also helping women. We are also helping in cooking and all. See, if you go and see any railway ground, you can see how many railway ground or any public ground, how many gents are playing cricket and how many women are playing cricket. You can think in that perspective, right? The ratio will be very, very low. Of course, if they say also, they will say like they will be helping women. It's like they are not doing their activity. Cooking is the woman's activity, and they are helping women. This word is also not right. They should think that it's their responsibility. I'd also say like men is also supporting, but the ratio is very, very low. Okay, so what is the possible solution that I can suggest to overcome this problem? Like what I thought was the best solution would be we have to find out the less men empowered field, and we have to increase the empowerment of men in those areas. Like we have to think in a different way. For example, a housemaid. Usually, if we have any working woman in their home, then one lady will come and she will do cooking, she will wash the vessels, she will do the floor cleaning and all. She will do everything and she will go. Why that person is always she? Because why always you are recruiting a lady as a housemaid? Because if men thought that's providing food for everyone in the family, then when he is going to office, then he will, when he needs to find out a replacement for his work in his family, then he will find out another man as a replacement. But always woman is thinking like providing food for everyone in the family. And probably that's why when she is going out to office, she is finding another replacement for her work in the family, and she is recruiting always. So always the housemaid will be always ladies. There won't be any men for that. So in the area of in the field of housemaid, if we need to increase the empowerment of men, and then taking care of babysitting. Yeah, in that babysitting also, like men thought that it's the woman's job. Like if we want to go out after baby born and all, we will be getting out. Also, there is a biological dependency between the mother and the kid. That biological dependency is just for 1 or 1.5 years. That's all. After that, mother and father both are equal only in the perspective of baby. There won't be any biological dependency like feeding and all. I'm saying there won't be any biological dependency after 1 or 2 years. But how people are influencing women is, see, like if we are emotionally attached to the baby, then that's fine. If you're emotionally attached and you can't concentrate on anything else apart from taking care of baby, that's completely fine. It's up to woman who needs to take this decision, but it shouldn't be enforced. It shouldn't be forced by anyone, by the society or anyone. By default, they will say like if you're giving birth to a child, then that should be your highest priority, because we are already compared to mother with the God and all. So everyone will say like this should be your highest priority. This kind of perception also needs to change. Like taking care of baby, like anyone can do it after 1 or 2 years. Only the few months or few years, the biological dependency will be there. After it is released, both men and women are same, and both needs to take care of to provide the good morals and values to the kid, right? And of course, I could see so many songs as well in the films. எந்த குழந்தையும் நல்ல குழந்தைதான் மண்ணில் பிறக்கையில்லை. Like what they are influencing, how they are influencing the society is, when we are born, all are good. But when we are growing, whether we are turning good or bad is completely depends on the way that his mother is growing him. So they are completely openly saying like a growing child in a good manner is completely mother's responsibility. They can at least replace the word mother with the parents, right? One more song. One more song is like Amuduttum Annai Arivuttum Thandai. It's like feeding baby with nutritious food is what mother will take care, and giving wisdom and providing knowledge and all will be taken care by father. In that way, that song will go. This song and all is not the latest song. It was there some few decades ago. Like one of the great leader of Tamil Nadu was there in that song, but he is influencing the society in that way. See, that song traveled so many years and it reaches my ears. So it will go to my grandson as well. So that song was a very huge song, and it will influence all the people of Tamil Nadu. But if you, it will be like praising the mother only. But when you go and deeply look for the meaning of that song, it will be like splitting the activities based on the gender basis. Everything looks like praising woman, everything looks like praising mother, but it's completely depends. But when you go and see something in depth, they are like splitting that on a gender basis. And one more recent song also, Un Samayalarayil Uppa Sakriya. That song is, it's the recent song, but the recent poets also, why they are writing in that way. The hero will ask to heroine like, "Am I a sugar or salt in your kitchen?" Then the heroine will ask, "Am I your eyes or a book in your reading room?" This recent generation also writing in that way because we are influenced by that old songs, right? And we thought that this is the right good. These kinds of things needs to be changed. Only when the perception of the society, when the perception of men change, then only the empowerment of women will be there in all other society. Like hotels. If I say cooking will be done by women, then some other will come and fight. See, we are also cooking in hotels and all. Only gents are cooking. So how can you say that woman is cooking? See, that is the difference between the paid and unpaid job. In hotel, when it comes to a paid job, when it comes to an empowerment, then only men are considered for that position. But in home, it's an unpaid job. So in that case, so I would specifically say like it's not the kind of cooking. In the area of unpaid cooking, men empowerment should be increased in this clear manner, I should say. Then only they will understand. And the same person also will say like homemade food is better than hotel food because it's unpaid job and that's a paid job. So we have to understand it clearly, and we have to think from our perspective. Like we have to free our mothers or sisters or some woman to come out of that loop and start involving in all other activities on what she wants to do. Like and then so like the society, when you want to do something, just go and try for it. Don't think about the failure and all, because woman will always hesitate to do something, right? Because the society has built some frame for her. If she wants to go and write a book, then society will frame book for an author. The author should be like this, and if she can't get into that frame of author, she always thinks about failure. So I would say like real failure is better than the fear of failure. Fear of failure will be more painful when you face. The real failure will go just like this, but the fear of failure will always be there in your mind. So don't just get into the frame of what society has built on you. Just do whatever you want. At least you can go and try. Failure is fine, okay, but you can go and try whatever you want. That's all I would say. Okay, that's what, whatever I have it in my mind, I just expressed it. I don't have any PPT kind of presentation to show you. But see, since if I tell you the importance of learning, you itself can go and check for yourself, right? I don't need to provide you any PPT kind of thing. So that's why, of course, I would like to become a good speaker. That's why I'm trying. But someone will say like speaker should be like this, but I'm not fitted to that frame because I follow my own rules. That's all. Okay, so let us have some technical topics. Like as I said, people will come and ask me like, what is the techniques? What is all the tools and technologies that I need to learn to become a big data or machine learning engineer? If I list out the technologies, they will run away because you have to understand it. It's not just one machine learning algorithm. You have to understand. You have to travel with the data. Like you have to know from where we need to fit the technology. So when you are starting your career, it's fine. You have to good in Python, then you will be a Python developer. If you are good in DevOps, you will be a DevOps developer. But after 5 or 6 years of experiences, you have to provide consultation to the clients, right? You have to be the solution architect. When you are playing the role of consultant, solution architect, in that way, you should know so many things around you in the new latest technologies. Then only you can sustain in that field. So let me tell you some new technologies what you want to learn to become a machine learning or big data engineer. So to understand it easily, I will travel with the data so that you can understand where the latest technology will fit in which position and all. So initially, basic thing you need to have a basic understanding on the Linux. No need to be a very much strong person in that Linux shell scripting and all, but basic understanding is needed just because we need to fetch some data from some other server. So for that, you need to know what is rsync, what is SSH connection, what is FTP. So these kinds of basic things you need to know. So Linux is the basic for everything to become an expert in the new booming technologies. So Linux, and once you download the data, you have to store that huge amount of data, right? So this downloading can be of one time or it can be a continuous streaming process. Streaming process means Kafka and all we can use. So this Kafka and all we can use for streaming processing. Once we get the data, you have to place it somewhere. Somewhere means any servers we can place it, or we can install Hadoop environment. We can use Hadoop for storing the text files, or we can just go with the AWS data lake, data store, and all. So there are some service providers. So in the cloud, when you come to cloud, it will just, there are three types of services: platform as a service, software as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So you have to get some basic understanding on what is what in the cloud things. So once the data is stored, the data will be of huge dirty data, right? So we have to clean that. So how to handle the null values in that? By using pandas. Pandas can be by using Python or pandas. So Python can be used to clean the data and convert it in the desired format on which, based on the requirements. We will be getting requirements from business users. Based on that, we need to clean the data and convert it. So for that, you have to learn Python. So if I suddenly say like you have to aware of cloud, you have to aware of AWS, Python, pandas, Linux, Hadoop, you can't understand it, right? That's why I'm telling in this way. So once based on the requirements, you have started converting it using the Python or R language can be used for that. So Python, pandas, and all, it's a module. And yeah, while making this conversion, I'm just saying it in conversion. When you want to make predictions, you have to use some algorithms. Machine learning algorithms, there are some 5 or 7. 7 algorithms are enough to understand you, or just to start your career as a machine learning engineer. So 7 algorithms, you can just use some SQL and Python modules, scikit learning. In that module, there will be so many algorithms like logistic regression, linear regression, multi-class classification, k-means clustering, and nearest neighbors algorithms. This and all will be there, and how to pre-process the principal component analysis. So these kinds of algorithms are available in the sklearn package. Once you have some system, you have to system with good configuration. You can just download that and start working on that to become a machine learning engineer. To become a big data engineer, just start using Hadoop and using Python and Pandas. You can just convert the data and load it in the Hive tables. Hive will be used to do for the analytics purposes. If it is a structured data, then after conversion, we can load it in Hive. If it is an unstructured, we can go with MongoDB and all. So MongoDB we can use once it is reached, once based on the requirement, once we converted the data, we are just storing it. If we are making predictions, then you have to predict like a web UI UX developer will be there. He will be developing the front end application. So the predicted value, you have to send it to the front end side, right? For that, you have to know something about the Flask API. How will you expose the output inside the by using the Flask API? So there the Flask API comes. Now that's all. You fetched the data and did all the pre-processing based on the requirements. You transformed it, and the processed data can be stored in either Hive or MongoDB structure based on the structured or unstructured data. And we have predicted that we have exposed that result in an API. So this is what to become a big data or a machine learning engineer. And then only the DevOps comes. So till now, this part you are doing in your own system, right? Now, whatever is developed with your code, this code should be pushed into the server, another server. So that is completely done by can be considered as a DevOps section. But if you want to become a full stack developer, you have to do all the things, right from the beginning to the production deployment. So that will be the full stack developer. So just learn that as well. So DevOps means they will say like you have to, do we have any knowledge on the Docker and all. So Docker is nothing but a container. So when you're developing some code in your machine, you have so many versions of the modules required for the application in your machine, right? So this same set of modules and same set of versions, every time you don't need to install it on the server. Server may have so many modules, so which may affect the functionality of your server. So to avoid this confusion, whatever we are developed, we need to write it in a Docker file, like the required modules and the corresponding versions, and then the application will be carefully deployed in the servers. With the inside a container, the required modules will be running, and the application will be running successfully without any disturbances. So Docker is like a, see, all are born to live in this world, right? But we can't directly put into the world directly. So all are having some kind of home. So inside the home is like a container. Inside the home, we have all the modules. Like inside the home, we have all the things required to lead a peaceful life, right? Likewise, inside the container, that whatever we developed, it has the required things to run it successfully. And then GitHub. So I'm saying these many technologies, but this and all not related to the like a kind of book what we learn in college days, right? If your operating system is like a 700-page book, it's not like 700 pages. Everything just like 4 or 5 commands only. If you go on Git repository, only 4 commands. Docker means just a Docker build run, Docker build, Docker run. That's all. 4 commands. Kafka for streaming, just 4 commands. When you go and deep everything in deeply, only just 4 commands will be 4, maximum 8 or 10. That's all. The number of options that we can get it from the Google. So whenever there is a need, based on that, we have to fetch some option, provide the parameters. That and all will be huge. But the basic commands will be 4 or 5 only. It's not like the book that we will used to complete during the, it will take 1 semester to complete the college book, right? It's not like that. But when you grow, you will easily understand it. The technology name might be huge, but the basic commands will be very less. So once you can start learning it regularly, definitely from 6 or 7 months, you can be in that position. And then, so Kafka, GitHub repository is used to keep the different versions of our code. So Docker is done. Jenkins are used to automate the process of deployment on the server. See, as I said earlier, we have homes inside to live in our world, right? So whenever there is a new requirement comes, we are changing our homes, and packers and movers will be coming to automate our process of moving our container, right? Likewise, Jenkins is like a packers and movers. Who used to change the container to a new container with in an automated process. We don't need to create container all the time manually whenever we are making some code changes on the code. And Git is used to keep the different versions of our. If we didn't use Git, see in the Linux servers and all, I used to have codes, my own codes, to convert the data in the desired format. But we are not using Git. We have to propose it. I need to propose that for it. So whenever I'm making some changes, I have to just take the backup of that code, like with some today's date under BKP file and all. I used to take a backup. If we are using Git repository, then that repository itself is used to take care of this version control and all. It's just a version control system. Yeah, that's also, these are all some technical things that you need to learn to become an expert as a machine learning or big data engineer. But all these tools are free open source tools only. So you can easily install it and keep a try on it, so that you will reach the position where you want to be. And of course, like let me conclude the session. So learn yourself. That's all. No need to go for any course or anything else. It will be, don't waste your money by spending so much of amount in so many courses. Just learn by yourself. Every day learn something. At the time of doing some different activities, don't think that it may be a failure or it may be a huge success. It may be end up in a huge success. Then celebrate it. If it ends in failure, just leave it, because with the fear of failure, you don't just do not want to, just you don't get fear before starting anything. That's all. That's my suggestion. Yeah, and of course, if you want to contribute to any open source project, you can just mail me. I'll guide you, so that if you're not getting the opportunity to work in an office for the technology which you want, but you can start contributing to open source project, and you can improve yourself in the technology where you want to become. So slowly you will reach that position. That's all the best, and thanks for giving me this opportunity uh, to express my feelings, what all I'm having in my mind. And yeah, all the best. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving such an amazing talk. I think our audience might have a lot of questions right now. So why don't we just dive right into the Q&A?
Okay, ma'am. So before audience asks some questions, I have some question from my side. So my first question is, what advice would you give to your past self if you were just starting your career in the open source field?
Are you asking me what influenced me to start my career in open source?
Yes, ma'am, sort of.
Yeah, because the access to knowledge.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, access to knowledge is very huge, and support also. I'm getting so many support. With the proprietary software, for each and everything, I need to contact the community and they will guide me. But with open source tool, I'm getting so many support, and yeah, mostly the access to knowledge is very free. And in the enterprises also, they started moving everything to the open source tools only. If there's like Anaconda and all is like a package of open source tool. We are used to pay for Anaconda, Cloudera kind of things, but that consists like the package of open source tool they'll be providing us. If they raise it in that case, also client want us to don't do for Anaconda, just install the required modules for the Python program and start using them. It's the need. Based on the business need, we have to work, right? Now everyone started contributing to open source project and everyone are moving to the open free tools and all. Yeah.
Now moving on, I would like to ask ma'am, what type of technical challenges did you face when you first started your?
Yeah, when I started my career, sometimes I used to do some basic in the Linux shell scripting. I did some mistakes. Like what in the host file, I used to make some wrong entries because of that. In RSA key authentication, RSA key changes and all I used to make. And during the initial stages, I used to make some mistakes, but that's okay because I'm the only one who has some confidence to work in that area, because everyone else will say no, we don't want to handle those servers because it's completely production servers. We don't want to take the risk of making any mistakes on the server. But I was somewhat confident, so I will go and do the job. Even if I make mistakes, I used to do some hard work, like 2 nights of sleepless nights I used to do spend. But that's fine. When someone is really hesitating to take that challenge, if someone is ready to take the responsibility of doing something wrong on the production server, that's fine. No one will harm you because they understand. No one will be ready to make some mistakes. Yeah, that's what I said. The fear of failure is more painful than the real failure. If real failure happens, only 2 nights of sleepless sleeps we need to spend. But the fear of failure will always push you back. You won't get the confidence to touch that server. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So here we have a question from the audience side. Uh, Let me just. Yeah, the question is visible on your screen. I will read it for you as well. From which language you started? If it was Python, then how you managed to handle time complexity stuff?
Because Python, it seems to be all package only, and in problem solving, we can't always use packages. Yeah, I started with Python only. So in Python, it's just a basic 5 syntax like dictionary and sets, list operation, dict operation. Just once you start completing the Python, so Python can be of 2 types. One is for Python for web development, Python for data analytics. I didn't go with the web development. We have to learn the Django framework. Yeah, that is also easy only, but till now I didn't learn the Django framework. I choose Python for data analytics because I work in the field of big data and machine learning. So when it comes to data analytics, we just need to work with the 2 modules, NumPy and Pandas. That's all. Pandas will have 3 different types of data structure will be there: series, data frames, and panel. You just need to know the operations related to the series, data frames, and panels. That's all. Yeah, time complexity and all. When you're combining Python with the Hive, there might be some Hive supported file format. We have to convert the Python functions. That is just a simple one-line coder. Whenever you have converted everything using Python for that particular datetime sections only, we need to convert it in the Hive supported format. Yeah, that's all. Python and Pandas is very easy for us to do. Python is just very simple languages. Even in 3 days, you can able to complete it. Basic syntax only. It is difficult, ma'am. It is difficult for women to work in FOSS because there are less women there, and some projects do not provide leaves, like at the time of menstruational cycle and other. So, who's flat in this? Yeah, even I felt the same. like my code needs to be deployed on the production server at that time during my menstruation cycle comes. I can't even sit. I can't even make any support. I don't know how to. Yeah, like there are less women there in some projects to not provide leaves. Yeah, it's not only for FOSS, right? During our childhood, somehow I can able to manage and go to school and during menstruational period. And before marriage also, I can able to manage those days. But after giving birth to 2 children, it's really difficult for me to even sit down and do some support in front of the computer. So now only I'm in this serious phase where we need to think about this, how to handle this. That's all. Less women in FOSS means in the Western countries and all, they have the women empowerment slowly started increasing it. But in Indian countries, Indian women, they need to come out of their kitchen, then only it will happen. That's all.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, definitely. You can modify an open source project and you can use it for commercial purposes.
So, ma'am, I think that's all from the audience side questions. Thank you for giving such an enlightening talk. I would like to express my gratitude for the invaluable coverage and encouragement towards open source provided by you, who I feel is a great inspiration for all young engineers of our institute aspiring to make a difference in the world through their innovative ideas. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.